I'm grateful to my team for bringing me these questions that people in our community ask, and many of those people are facing time in the criminal justice system for the first time. So they're asking me questions like this one that I received, and that is, what should I do before sentencing? Well, that's a great question. And I think it's a great question because it's showing that God, I'm going into a situation that is very different from anything I've been through before, and I need to start working to position myself for the best possible outcome. And the first thing that you want to do is get an understanding of what follows if you've been convicted of a crime. And there are different ways that you can get convicted. One of them is you go to trial and a jury finds you guilty. Well, at that point, there's going to be a series of things that happen after the guilty verdict. At that point, you're no longer a defendant. You are now convicted. And so you want to understand what follows, and you want to make sure that you're sowing seeds for the best possible outcome at every stage of the journey. Another way of getting convicted and facing a sentencing hearing is if you participate in what's called a plea agreement, and you agree to accept that you have broken the law, and now you face sentencing. Again, whether it's convicted at a trial or you agreed to a plea agreement, there is going to be a series of events that follow. But you may want a different approach. If you went to trial, you may want to be preserving your rights to appeal. And so you have to start with understanding what's going to follow. If you did a plea agreement, you may want to go all in on a mitigation strategy and say, what can I do today to position myself for the best possible outcome, not only at sentencing, but also position yourself for administrative relief that may come later. And so I think on this video, I want to just explain to you what's going to happen to start. And the first thing that's going to happen is after there is a conviction, a federal probation officer is going to launch what's called a pre-sentence investigation. And that investigation means that the probation officer is going to want to set up time to speak with you. It could be in person. Most likely it's going to be in person, but at other times it's going to be through a Google Meet, a Zoom call, potentially even a phone call. Your counsel has the right to be there with you, but some defense attorneys are a little bit lackadaisical, and they may not go. They may tell you it's a perfunctory matter. You have to know that the pre-sentence investigation is not a perfunctory matter. It has long-lasting collateral consequences that will influence your life. So you want to learn everything you can possibly learn about the pre-sentence investigation and steps that you should be taking to prepare for it. And on Prison Professors, we offer everything for free. You don't need to pay anybody anything. You should go through one of our free courses, the free lessons on the pre-sentence investigation report, where you will find videos and lessons that give you a fuller understanding on what to expect, and also what you can do, hopefully, to influence the outcome. There's nothing you can do to change the past, but there are things that you could do to position yourself for the best possible outcome. And that, again, depends on whether you might choose one strategy. If you went to trial and a jury convicted you and you want to appeal, you may choose a different strategy if you have been participating in a plea agreement, and you may choose one strategy if you're cooperating with the government versus if you don't. I don't make a judgment call on what you do at either stage. All I am telling you is that don't go into this blindly. Understand that after a conviction, a pre-sentence investigation is going to follow. That means a federal probation officer is going to ask you questions. They're going to start by sending you a package of pamphlets and ask you to fill them out. Remember that there are legal consequences to your responses. You don't have to participate. You can take the Fifth Amendment and say, I don't want to participate, but you should own what comes with that. They may say that there's no judgment, but you're losing an opportunity to advocate for yourself. If you do fill out those documents, remember that there are criminal penalties associated with lying on any government form or lying to a federal officer. But there are also, besides criminal penalties, there are administrative problems if the probation officer and the judge finds that you have lied by omission, by not revealing everything that you should have revealed. which is why I really recommend you take the time to not go through a 7-minute video or 8-minute video that I'm offering here, but you really take the time to understand the pre-sentence investigation and figure out what can you do to prepare for the best possible outcome. One of the things that you should do, in my view, there's a few. One of them is you need to have your own sentencing narrative, your own story. I've interviewed many federal judges, and they always say they know what the prosecutor is going to say, they know what the defense attorney is going to say, but what they really don't have enough clarity on is who you are and what are you doing, and what have you learned from this experience, and how do you identify with the victims of the case, right? Give a lot of thought to that, because you're communicating to an audience of one. It's always going to be an audience of one. It's starting with perhaps the probation officer, then the federal judge, then a case manager or unit manager or warden. All of those people will be looking at your pre-sentence investigation report, which is the document that results from the pre-sentence investigation. And it's going to say a lot about you. You're not going to like what it says because it's going to come from the government's perspective of the case. So you're going to want to try to influence that through your personal narrative. And on our website, we offer you free courses that gives you examples, it gives you ideas. How could you use artificial intelligence to help you? You don't need to hire anybody for this. You just need to be willing to put in the work. The second thing that you're going to want to do besides a personal narrative in getting ready for sentencing is create a campaign to generate character reference letters. You're looking for people who can vouch for you as a human being. And what are they going to say about you? You don't want to relitigate the case. You don't even want them really commenting on the case, other than to say that you've spoken with them about it and have the person who's writing the letter, express that they are supportive of you, that they appreciate your honesty in talking with them, and that they will be there to support you through the journey and when you come home. It's very important to a judge because the judge is now hearing from people who, at least theoretically, know your character and they're standing by you. The third strategy that I would recommend you do before sentencing is develop a comprehensive mitigation strategy. We offer a lot of free information on Prison Professors with ideas that you can do to demonstrate that you're more than what it says in the pre-sentence investigation report, that you're more than the criminal charge. And you may have done a lot before the charge, but what's super important is for you to be thinking about what have you done since, and in what ways are you using your time to prepare for life as a law-abiding, contributing citizen. That's what your judge and other stakeholders are going to want to see. It's up to you to deliver it. We offer all lessons for free on Prison Professors, but in response to that question, those are the first things that I would do, is get to understand the system and then use the system in a manner to help you get the result that you want, or at least advance you as a candidate to get the best possible outcome. I am Michael Santos, founder of Prison Professors. I believe in you, and I want you to know that there is always more opportunities in the future than in the past, but you definitely have to prepare. Be cool.